forum. And the next homeowner speaking, Mr. Mike DeLuca. 5 minutes, please.
Hello, I'm Mike DeLuca. I'm Tower 3, apartment 28D. I'm a former board member, former secretary. In the last meeting, Mr. Kingman stated that there was no profane language used in the complaint an employee made against Mr. Lerner. That doesn't necessarily mean that Mr. Lerner didn't use the profane language. It just means that it wasn't mentioned in the complaint. And I wrote those words that Luann brought up at that meeting, and I personally verified with 6 people that were present in the area when this happened. And I also checked and verified it with the former general manager, and they all confirmed that was the profane language was used by Mr. Lerner. I'd like to start by asking our president to resign for assaulting one of our directors, Mr. Longo, in this room right here 2 weeks ago, and for treating employees like they were something less than human. You might recall about a year ago I was assaulted myself by a former president, and I think under the advice of the attorney, he resigned. And I would expect Mr. Kingman to ask Mr. Lerner to resign as well. His liability, I think he's out of control, and his erratic behavior and hostile behavior and assaulting another director is a big liability to the association. I would also like to ask the board to remove our SPAR chairperson due to the events that occurred at the pool this past weekend, in which she and along with others consumed alcohol, ate pizza, and acted like a bunch of jerk-off school kids. One of the residents told me that he asked one of the guys to stop using F-word because there were kids around, and the guy said to him, "Now I'm gonna butt you in the head." That was one of her friends. Another resident was told, "Why don't you go back to your own country?" When he was with his child and his wife, because he asked them to stop drinking and cursing in front of the children. We already have a EEOC complaint filed against us, which mentions her treatment to an employee in the complaint. And now I hear she's doing the same thing to a current SPA manager, and it's another liability for the association. I ask you to ask her to resign. I've been collecting signatures for the petition for the special meeting to remove, impeach President Lerner. And most of the signers for these sign up recently for these 2 reasons. They don't understand why all of our, a bunch of our loyal and dedicated employees that had a lot of knowledge about the galaxy have been let go recently. And the other reason is because they're being forced out of their homes, like I predicted a year ago, with these maintenance increases and the assessments. They can no longer live here. They can't afford it. They wanted to stay here for their whole life, and now they have to move. And they can't sell and they can't rent. So we now have, Madam Secretary, we now have the required number of signatures for a special meeting to impeach Mr. Lerner. We will be continuing to collect signatures to cover the 100 owners or so that are in arrears. We will have an attorney vet these signatures when they're presented to you, before they're presented to you. An attorney that has a lot of condo experience, unlike Mr. Kingman, who had 0 prior to his tenure at the Galaxy. I'm asking the 3 directors subject of the impeachment to resign, as some of their predecessors did, in order to provide a smooth transition. These long elevator waits and constant breakdowns, the failing fire safety system that might shut down Tower 2. We have a possible garage closure. We have Mr. Lerner's irrational and hostile behavior, his water-damaging HVACs he recommended, his broken down brand new washing machines, his no experience in running a building, but he's running one of the largest complexes in the state of New Jersey. He has no experience, and he's running this place. Assessments on top of assessments. Our homes and our investments are at stake. We have a guy here who he's pushing GE HVACs, but he failed to disclose until after the fact that we ordered 1,000 units there's some kind of joint venture business with GE. That alone should be your resignation. Mr. Lerner, it's time for you to go, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr.
I'm not done yet.
5 minutes.
One
but
resident,
5 minutes, I
minutes.
believe. I believe that there's a
He's got 30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay.
Okay.
This letter was sent to the people that own storage rooms. It's about all these violations. But there was no cover letter, so a lot of the residents asked me to find out what they're supposed to do, because it just says that there's electrical violations, excessive storage, sprinkler heads are covered, smoke detectors are blocked, but they don't know if they have to get their stuff out of the storage, or are they going to get... So I would suggest that you
Time's up.
send the
Thank you very much.
letter.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Mr.
very much for
DeLuca.
your time.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I'd like to, well, certainly it's not my responsibility to address anything that,
No,
Mike's...
no, please.
No.
Let's
You
not get
don't know
into
what
that
I'm going to
again.
say.
That's not.
It's
no,
not, you're not
don't-
addressing it. I would like to correct the record that since, please,
Let's not go there.
the record should be corrected that until now, we bought and installed less than 250 air conditioners, not 1,000.
Oh.
So that's just so correction. Okay?
Committee.
We can reduce big committed 2,000. I don't believe that we committed 2,000 units. I don't believe.
GVK.
I don't know what GVK is, but what?
Well, I
You don't
just...
reply to this particular statement. Very much. I'd like to have a motion to adjourn this meeting. I'd like to have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn
I
this
second it.
meeting.
All those in favor? I thank you very much. Good night. It was a very
Adjourned at
productive
10:30
evening.
p.m.
Thank you.